have any response from your side? Whenever I ask some, okay, am I audible or something else, you simply put a thumbs up here. Okay. So you all for GATE, DS paper, data science. So how many of you are from computer science? Then why are going for DS? Then why are going for DS? Huh? So may I know the reason for that? May I know the reason? What is the reason for that? చెప్పండి పర్వాలేదు ఏమనుకుంటున్నారు చెప్పండి కరెక్టే కదా నేను చెప్తాను మీరు ఏదనుకుంటే చెప్తే అది కరెక్టే కదా నేను చెప్తాను ఒకళ్ళు చెప్పండి సార్ ఎవరో ఒకరు పర్వాలేదు ఈజీగా ఉంటుందనా అంతేనా ఓకే అది మీ ఉద్దేశం సరే ఎనీవే డిసిజన్ ఫర్ గేట్ ఏడిఎస్ హియర్ ఓకే so far we learned about Python programming here. Last one, are you able to see? No. Oh. If you are not able to see, okay, you can occupy the seats. Okay, no problem. I won't ask any questions. Okay, you can do whatever you want. Okay, so you already familiar with the Python programming here. First of all, let me go for maybe sure about the gate here before this is the first offline session. Okay, therefore we need to give some awareness about gate here. So whenever you are preparing for the gate here, it is not a new one. It is already there in your curriculum subjects. Then why you are coming for okay extra classes for that? So the way you learn, okay, that is a completely different thing. So you aim for marks and important questions like that here, and descriptive answers. In the descriptive answers, depends upon the percentage of right or wrong here. But when you come to the objective answers, 100%. Okay, once you know the complete picture, then only you can answer the objective questions. Simply, you may feel that one here, okay, you can choose one option among that, but they won't design the paper like that. Once the student is having all the knowledge in that course or subject, then only, okay, you can answer that one. Like that, the paper will be designed. Whenever you have descriptive examinations, what you can do that, you can have a choice. You can leave 50% and you can achieve S grade or 100 out of 100. So that won't work in GATE. Either you need to go for completely or leave it. That's the only thing you can do that. So if you take a choice, your marks will be reduced first time. And second one is you get a very long rank, large rank you get it. So that is the problem here. Once you leave a choice, okay, you are going down in the rank list. That is the first thing you need to go for that. Okay. So anyway, you know the pattern here because I want to give some awareness of that one. Okay, of the gate here. So for any paper here, don't think that one it is easy, it is hard. Everything is having its own importance. So they will divide 30% of mathematics and 70% of your core. Any one, any subject. 70% will go for core subjects and 30% will go for okay your mathematics. In that 30%, 50% will go for aptitude and reasoning. Aptitude and reasoning. And 15% for engineering mathematics. So what engineering mathematics you need for computer science, that mathematics only will be available. So when you go for mechanical, they will have a different engineering mathematics. Okay, when you go for civil, they have different kind of engineering mathematics. So what is the mathematics, okay, required in their subjects? That mathematics will be kept in that, okay, 15%. Whereas the 15% is common, aptitude and logical reasoning. Okay, English, everything comes there. Next, when you come to the 70% here, this is your core subjects. So the intention of these people is, if you are strong in core subjects, you can learn anything. So that is the main aim of this IIT people. So they test that one how strong you are in the core subjects. Okay, therefore, If you look at the previous papers, okay, if you go for data science, it is not well defined right now here because only two papers are available for your data science. We can't predict what the next question comes for the data science. When you go for computer science, okay, you have already 35 years of papers. So we can predict, okay, in which direction we need to study, okay, and what is an expected, okay, area. Like that, we can guess. We can have a prediction on that one here, okay. We don't get exact question, but we may get a similar kind of question, or we can address, okay, what are the topics, okay, where we can emphasize that one. When it comes to this data science, okay, because it is having only two papers, okay, you can't go for, okay, predict what kind of questions may come here. Okay, you don't get it that one. Okay, that is very, you may people think that one it is very easy, but computer science itself is easy when you compare with this. So that's the reason I asked the first reason why you gone for that one. When I asked that one coordinator, okay, sir has said that okay, these people want easy, they don't want to go for tough subject like that here. Okay, because you have chosen a wrong one, the first thing, because it is not having well-defined structure. They may go for, okay, if you go for an artificial intelligence, data science, it is a ocean. Okay, it's an ocean. Okay, where we step it, we don't know that. Okay, when you come to the computer science, at least we know that one here. What is the depth of that one here? So that's the first reason you need to understand here. Okay. Anyway, you already chosen that. Okay, no problem. Okay, you can try it. No, there. So when you come to this 70% here, how to prepare that 70% core subjects? First, identify what are the core subjects of your paper. So I'll discuss with our computer science here because when you go for artificial intelligence and data science, 60% of the mathematics is there. 60% of the mathematics. Okay, probability and statistics plays a vital role. Okay, that occupies some 60% of that one in mathematics. Whereas the rest of them will occupy algorithms, artificial intelligence algorithms. What are the parameters? All that one here. Okay, if you look at that, okay, mostly you go for you observe that one 60% of the mathematics. So if you are strong in mathematics, okay, probability and statistics, then it is not difficult for you. Otherwise, it is very difficult to understand that algorithms, how they are working here. Simply in the Python, you are using simply that models. Okay, already Python is providing all that models as a functions. Suppose if you use that model here or a function, then how it is internally working, if you are not aware of that one, no use of it. Simply if you know, okay, for that purpose I need to use this model, for this purpose I need to use this model, that is not sufficient. Whenever you are using that model, how it is working internally. So Python has given an abstraction. Loan ఏం జరుగుతుందో మీకు ఏం చెప్పండి. So that won't need that people here. You should know that one, okay? On the gate point of view, you should know that one. Okay, you need to go and elaborate that function, how it working, what is there, all the things you need to do that one. So, okay, when you come to this one here, mostly when you go for computer science here, you can see only two subjects, DBMS, data warehouse, and artificial intelligence and machine learning. Okay, these are subjects. These are not a small subjects here, very huge subjects here. So that is the categorizing that 70% core subjects in this part, it is very difficult for that. That's the reason I'll give you an idea, a model for computer science. Then you go and map this model to your artificial intelligence and data science paper, and then you can study that. So you are already familiar with, first you need to list of all discrete mathematical structures. This is what engineering mathematics for computer science. We call it as engineering mathematics for computer science. This we call it as discrete mathematical structures. So this is the first course you need to learn. Okay, for when you enter into the computer science. Means what is the part of the mathematics that is used for computer science build? Because computer science has been okay evolved from mathematics itself. So therefore, here we need to learn about in discrete mathematical structure, set theory and graph theory. Most of the problems are represented before programming with the help of set theory and graph theory. Therefore, we are going to learn about in the discrete mathematics what are the set theory and graph theory. So this part, you can also call this one as mathematical foundations for computer science. First, we need to learn this subject here. There is a pattern or a sequence just like a web series, how we see that series in a sequence, just like that we need to learn here. Otherwise, it is very difficult to understand or okay answer the question given by the okay gate people. So they will treat everything. They don't treat each and every subject as a separate here. They will treat entire thing as a one unit, and they will give you that whether the student knows this or not. Don't think that one. This is the question from programming. They may touch the programming plus data structures and algorithms all together. They will give that one. If you leave as a choice, algorithms I am not good here. I leave the algorithm. I am good at programming. You can't answer the question. Okay. So there must be a link between each and every subject here. Okay, first that link must be understand here. Then only you need to prepare. If you doesn't prepare like that, you couldn't get error. Maybe you can get some okay qualifying marks, but that marks is not sufficient to get a good okay admission in the IA. Okay. So first thing is we need to go for this one. Next, we need to understand here digital logic design plus computer organization and architecture. So if you see the your computer system, so first how these components have been built, the circuits has been built. So what is the logic, how this logic has been implemented as a circuits, that we discuss in your digital logic design here. Okay, how this function has been designed and then it must be okay manufactured as a circuits. So what are the basic okay gates, okay, all the things. So you may think that one here, everything understood ones and zeros. So therefore you learn about one and one is given per AND gate. So you will get one here. So therefore what is that AND gate is okay, developed that. Then you learn about what is the flip-flops. There we studied about the flip-flops, all these things. So this will help you, digital logic design will help you that what you want to your computer functions. Okay, then after that one you build some circuits, then organize that circuits in a proper way so that you need to achieve your functionality. So how the computer system has been built, okay, therefore you should have a knowledge on that one. So you should know digital logic design and as well as computer organization and architecture. So this is the next you need to learn. You can see that all these courses are not a new one. They are evolved in a curriculum same wise. Okay, they are already put in your curriculum in a correct order. So therefore you need to follow that order. Next, the another part here is programming language, data structures, and then algorithms. You should not treat this one as a separate programming language, data structures, and algorithm. So suppose if you want to go for any task, okay, you want to use a computer here. Computer doesn't understand. That's the reason you learn your programming language. Computer understands only ones and zeros that we learn in the digital logic design. So when you come to this part here, okay, you couldn't write in ones and zeros. If you write in ones and zeros, it is very difficult for you that. Okay, even okay, that cannot be readable also. So that's the reason, okay, a programming language has been learned, okay, which is comfort for your users, which is comfort for the users. So that's the reason you started with some C programming language. So that is the best starting point of that learning programming language. Okay. Then after that one, data structures is needed here because every program need some kind of data to work. So that's the reason an efficient organization of data is must. Okay, you need a data structure. Then okay, that operations, whatever the operations you can perform. Okay, that operations insert, delete, and such operations. If they perform, if it fast, then automatically your program runtime will be fast. So that's the reason you learn about what are the different kinds of data organization. So there we learn about the data structures. And finally, and what is the approach to solve that problem? One approach is not suitable for all the things here. Therefore, algorithm techniques. Okay, therefore, whenever a problem comes, before going to writing a program, okay, therefore, first we need to check that whether the problem is okay having a solution or not here. If it is having a solution, okay, you need to write that in an algorithm format. So once you write in algorithm format here, then we can analyze the time complexity because everyone has their own ideas. Therefore, one person used one algorithm technique, the other person used another algorithm technique. Therefore, we need to find out, okay, what is the difference between these two here. I want to compare algorithm 1 and algorithm 2. Therefore, tell me what is your resources of your algorithm 1, what is your resources of algorithm 2. Therefore, which is the best one based on your time and space complexity. Okay, so that is the reason here, that is the picture you need to understand here. So programming language, data structures and algorithms, okay, they can't allow survive here. Okay, you need all these three to solve any kind of problem here. So therefore you learn individually what is the data structures. You learn algorithm techniques, divide and conquer, greedy method, dynamic programming, backtracking, branch and bound. Okay, you learn this one. Similarly, you will be equipped with one programming language. Finally, whenever the problem comes into the picture, you need to choose what kind of data structure should you use, what kind of algorithm technique should I use. Then finally, after choosing these two, write your algorithm, analyze it. That is how to analyze your algorithms. Then finally, once you are done with the algorithm analyzation, then you start implementing using programming language. So what kind of programming language? Your wish. What kind of language you are comfortable? I'm comfortable with C, you can write it in C. You are comfortable with C++, you can write it in C++. Or Python. Language is not a matter here. First of all, data structures and algorithms plays a vital role. So these are language independent. These are language independent. It doesn't matter. Okay? So language మారినంత మాత్రం డేటా స్ట్రక్చర్స్ అల్గోరిథమ్స్ మారవు. ఓకే, ఏ డేటా స్ట్రక్చర్ అయినా అల్గోరిథం అయినా లాంగ్వేజ్లో కూడా అదే రిప్రజెంట్ చేస్తాం. కాబట్టి మీరు లాంగ్వేజ్ అనేది జస్ట్ లైక్ ఏ కమ్యూనికేషన్ టూల్, కంప్యూటర్కి అర్థం కావడం కోసం మనకు కావాల్సిన ఫార్మాట్లో పెడతాం. సో వన్స్ యూ రైట్ దిస్ వన్ హియర్ ఇన్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్, దిస్ ఇస్ నాట్ సఫిషియంట్ because that won't understand by computer. Therefore we need a translator. So if there is no translator, no one will use the programming language. Then finally, we have to build for every programming language a translator. Okay? There are two kinds of translators. One is compiler, another one is interpreter. So interpreter, you don't have any problem with the interpreter, but there is a problem with the compiler. So compiler cannot be built from scratch. It is very huge, code, very lot of understanding you have to do, how the programming language behaves, so how to check the syntaxes, all the things. So that's the reason we need to learn about compiler design. So a separate course will be there for how to design a compilers. So there is no problem with the interpreters. Interpreters take to line and then translate it, that's fine. So no need of any problem with the interpreters. So when you come to the compilers, it takes entire code and convert that one to machine understandable code. So that's the challenge in how to design that compilers. If there is no compiler, even use a language, it's of no use. Okay? మీకు అర్థం కావట్లేదు కదా సిస్టమ్కి అయితే అర్థం కాదు కంపైలర్. సో దేర్ ఫోర్ వీ నీడ్ టు స్టడీ అబౌట్ కంపైలర్ డిజైన్. సో నెక్స్ట్, వన్స్ there are so many problems, what is the intention of studying about computer science? You need to solve some problems. So problem solving is the main motive here. So every domain, if I take it, computer science, electrical, mechanical, whatever it is, we have their own problems. Therefore they solve their own problems. Electrical people will solve their own problems. Similarly, mechanical people will solve their own problems. Similarly, computer science people have to solve their own problems. So what kind of problems you have, that you have to be solved. First of all, we need to say that one whether the problem can be solvable or not. Okay, what are the available resources? What are the available resources? Whether the problem can be solvable or not here. So theoretically, before writing algorithm, theoretically you need to check whether the problem is solvable or not. Problem is solvable or not. Solvable or not. So this is the first question before starting your writing an algorithm or this one. So this is one of the not a core subject of your computer science, because it is already evolved from mathematics. Therefore, some people will think that one theory of computation is coming from mathematics here. So a lot of mathematical concepts will be there in the theory of computation. So therefore, here we need to study about theory of computation first before going to write an algorithm for that. There will be so many problems. There are so many problems which we cannot solve using whatever we have, algorithms or whatever we have, data structures, nothing. All these are not sufficient for that one. One such kind of problem is, you can see that if I give some number, so which two numbers, if I multiply this, what are the factors of the two numbers? It is very difficult for that. If I give the two numbers, x and y, tell me what is the product of that one, you can answer. Suppose if I give a number, tell me what are that two numbers multiply, you'll get that number here. that is what we call it as an NP hard problem. There is no solution for that one here. Okay, like that there will be so many problems. Okay, we call that kind of problems as NP hard problems or undecidable problems where there is no solution. Even you try to use any algorithm, no use of it. You won't get a solution for that. So that we are going to discuss at theory of computation. So theory of computation, the name says theoretically whether this problem is computable or not. So that is what the meaning of theory of computation. There we learn about the techniques, how to prove theoretically whether the problem is solvable or not solvable. If you could able to construct, there are some four models are there. If you could able to construct any one model, then we can say that one that problem is solvable. Otherwise, the problem is not solvable. So theoretically itself, okay, we can check whether the problem is solvable or not here with the help of theory of computation. Therefore, next we need to learn about theory of computation followed by compiler design. So next one is you can go with the database management system. Database management system. So when our data structure is at present, instant, whenever the program is running, we'll construct the data structure, and then after the program is completed, we go out of that. No data structure is, okay, whatever the data structure we constructed, that vanishes. Okay, but when you come to this data intensive applications, therefore, okay, more than that data structure, then we'll go with the database management system where we need to store this data, okay, permanently here. Whereas the data structure will store only when the program is running there. Once the program is, okay, completed, therefore that program no longer exists in the main memory. Therefore, we can say that one, okay, all the data structures you created vanishes. So, but here you need a more intense data applications. Therefore, we need to go for database management system here. So how to store the data, how to retrieve the data efficiently. Therefore, for this, you need to learn about a separate language that is called SQL, structured query languages. Okay, you need to store the data in a table. Therefore, how to retrieve the data with the help of a separate language that is called structured query language. And the next part here is computer networks. Whenever you want to connect, okay, two or more computers, or you want to connect to the internet, and you want to get data remotely, you want to communicate. Therefore, all the systems must be connected. Therefore, how the computer networks works, what are the protocols are there, we need to study about all the protocols. Therefore, that is TCP/IP stack we need to learn about. And you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So these are the computer networks plus information security. Computer networks plus information security. So these are the core subjects of your computer science. And another subject is there, okay, I forgot to mention, that is operating system. So once you build in a hardware, you can't go and get okay directly. I need a memory or I need something else. Okay, you can't get it. There must be a middle part, that middleware, okay, which is support for the user as well as hardware. That is an operating system. So how this operating system code has been built, what are the algorithms they use, how it is going to manage all the things. So operating system. So finally, these are the core subjects of your computer science. Therefore, this is the pattern. Okay, we need to learn that. So you need to learn first the okay, database management system. Then you require DLD plus COA plus OS. This is one set. So I can drop here. Another set is programming language, data structures and algorithms, theory of computation and compiler design, DBMS, CNN, information security. Whenever the information is in transit, then how to provide the security for that information. So this is the your structure of your whatever you studied so far. Okay, computer science. So the view, the people, great people will view. Okay, or the paper setters will view. Okay, subjects like this. First of all, you should have this kind of picture. Okay, of your domain. So whatever domain you choose, okay, you should have this kind of big picture. So there is a connectivity for each and every subject. If you miss any subject, you don't understand the rest of the part. So that's the reason. Okay, at least here whatever I have written, the sequence, better go in that sequence. Suppose if you want to, okay, leave, okay, some of the subject, then you need to leave the entire block. If you read only part of that one, if you take a choice, no use. If you read DLD or if you read COA without knowing the DLD, then no use of it. Okay, no use. The question comes, okay, by spreading DLD and COA. They won't restrict to give it unit 1, give it unit 2, unit 3 like that. You can't claim it here. Whenever the question comes from another unit, apart from that unit 1, you can claim it and get a marks. But there is no claiming part here. Simply, you will lose. That's it. Okay? If you realize, then okay, there is a lot of competition all over India. This time, okay, even abroad people also writing that. Okay, you may get a competition from other countries also. They want to get an admission in IITs. Okay, some countries. So you get a competition of okay, lot of competition is there. Whereas in college, you have very little competition in your CGPAs. When you go for this one, it's a lot of competition. Of course, this is having okay very tough, but it cannot be done in overnight or over okay 1 or 2 semesters. Okay, that's the reason. At least after completion of the okay 3 years, you can write the gate examinations. Okay, so you should have a okay mind in that one in the first year. Then, okay, at the third year, you may feel that one here. Okay, yes, I'm eligible to write the GATE examination. Or I'm the real competitor for all the rest of the people who are writing. Simply go and attempt that. That's of no use. By luck, you may get it that, but it won't work. Even by suppose, by luck, you got some marks and then you got an admission. The whatever the assignments they have given on the MTech level, you can't survive. You may drop out at that point and you may come out. So that is the situation most of the people are coming here. Okay, there are so many dropouts in MTech because whatever the assignments they are giving, you couldn't able to understand and couldn't able to perform in time. So that's the reason. There is the dropouts. So many dropouts are there from MTech side as well as BTech side. If you don't have the strong fundamentals, they won't. Okay, whatever the assignment they give, they won't. You can't do that. That is the main problem. So two things. One is you can good have a good career once you go in this pattern in your domain. The second one is okay, you might get placed in some good companies once you have this domain knowledge. If you have a programming language, data structures and algorithms, probably you may be placed with some 5 or 6 lakhs package, but that won't be sufficient after 10 years. You will lose that. Okay, you will become okay obsolete after some time. Okay, without this knowledge. So this will work for both. When you go for campus placements, okay, these kind of knowledge people will have a better, okay, they will be placed in product-based companies. Okay, even if you prepare for GATE, okay, you will be placed there. Normally, if you get some 5 or 6 trackers, after that you need to manage. So at what time it may go out, we don't know. Okay, so you want to be strong or you want to be in good position, either in placements or you want to be in some good IITs means first you should know this kind of pattern. So this is the first thing a GATE aspirant should know that one. So similarly, map it that one to your AIDS and check that one, whether you are up to that or not here. Okay, prepare like that. Okay, so uh, so that is the view, not my view, the entire people, those who are teaching the GATE, the view will be like that. Okay, because it was analyzed by last okay 30 years of pattern, and then this is the best. Okay. 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 So for what we discussed in Python programming, so data structures and algorithms is common for your computer science and okay DS paper. Okay. Only difference is programming language. For them, there is a C programming language. For you, you have a Python programming. Okay. So that's the reason. there is no difference in data structures and algorithms. They are independent of the programming language. మీరు ఏ లాంగ్వేజ్ వాడి ఓకే డేటా స్ట్రక్చర్ ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేస్తారా అనేది ఓకే వాళ్ళకి అవసరం లేదు. ఓకే మీరు ఏ లాంగ్వేజ్ అయినా వాడచ్చు, కాకపోతే మీకు పెట్టింది పైథాన్. సో వై మీన్స్ దిస్ ఇస్ అట్ నెక్స్ట్ లెవెల్. సో యాక్చువల్లీ the reason for this one is you may think that one here CSC plus AML, CSC plus data science, CSC plus business intelligence means they must should have computer science background. Without computer science background, if you go for AML, no use of it. No use. If you are strong enough, you want to go for some kind of specializations, then you can go for AML here. Okay. So don't think that one AML is not is a separate. CSC made a layer, artificial intelligence and machine. And if you consider CSC as a core and AML as an okay, just like an one more layer, just like how we are having a cake, one more layer, similarly. So data science, one more flavor. Business intelligence, one more flavor. Cyber security, one more flavor. But think that you must cover what are the subjects I told. Okay, what are the subjects I told that you must cover, plus additionally whatever we want, what are the flavor you want for. So they are not a new one. Already underlying okay, cake part, hard part is computer science only. At least you should know that one. Then only for AML. So that is not a new one. You need to think of that. All this comes under CSC branch only. They are not a new branch. CSC branch, but they are comes under specializations. Okay. So uh, so far we learned about Python programming. Already we have completed except some part uh, that is functions and classes have not completed in Python programming online. Okay, I'll discuss about the functions and class, and then plus data structures and algorithms. Okay, and what are the algorithm part? Algorithm is also a separate subject in your okay CSC, but here very limited. They are very limited. Okay, just a graph algorithms. So therefore, better they have given some choice for you that okay. So this is not as much hard as your computer science here. They have limited okay algorithms. They didn't mention all kind of algorithms. They didn't mention only graph theory plus because you don't have a discrete mathematics. That's the reason. First, you need to go for algorithm means you need to study about graph theory. Graph theory చదవకుండా మీరు వెళ్ళవచ్చు. అందుకనే just an introduction to the graph. What is the purpose of graph? గ్రాఫ్ అంటే ఏంటి, గ్రాఫ్ని ఎలా రిప్రజెంట్ చేస్తాం, ఎన్ని రకాల గ్రాఫ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఓకే, సో దాని తర్వాత గ్రాఫ్ అల్గరిథమ్స్. వాట్ ఆర్ ద గ్రాఫ్ అల్గరిథమ్స్? ఏదైనా గ్రాఫ్ ఉందనుకోండి, దాన్ని ట్రావర్స్ చేయాలంటే ఎట్లాగా, బిఎఫ్ఎస్ అండ్ డిఎఫ్ఎస్. అలాగే గ్రాఫ్ ఉందనుకోండి, వాట్ ఈస్ ద షార్టెస్ట్ పాత్, హౌ టు ఫైండ్ అవుట్ ద షార్టెస్ట్ పాత్. యూ కెన్ గో ఫర్ డిస్కషన్ అల్గరిథమ్, ఓకే, ఫైండ్ అవుట్ ద షార్టెస్ట్ పాత్. Or you can go for okay Bellman Ford algorithm to find out the shortest paths. Okay, they didn't mention okay what kind of algorithms they use. So that's the main problem with okay this part here. They mentioned just graph algorithms. There will be huge amount of graph algorithms are there here. But when I see that last two papers, they touch only BFS and DFS. They even doesn't touch about discussion algorithm, all the things. Okay, so you need to choose some wisely. Okay, what to be prepared and what not to be prepared here. Okay, that's the thing of this. Okay, when it comes to the data structures, so this is common for anything here. Okay, we'll talk about list, stack, queue, tree, hash. So this is what they are in your syllabus: list, stack, queue, tree, and then hash. So we are going to discuss about what is the use of list and what is the stack and what is the queue and tree and hashing, and we'll see that okay how okay what kind of questions they ask from list, stack, queue, tree, and hashing. We'll discuss the big picture first and then followed by one by one. Okay. So next, in algorithms, we need to talk about BFS and DFS and types of graphs and properties. That's it. Because when I look at that algorithms, okay, questions, we are given only BFS and DFS that question, and then okay, then different types of graphs and directed cyclic graph, or you may go for shortest paths. That's it. You don't need to go for dynamic programming, all the things. Okay. And another part in between this, divide and conquer, the searching and sorting. They have asked, they mentioned exclusively what are the sorting techniques we need to describe and what is the searching. Okay. Then linear search and the binary search. ఈ రెండింటి గురించి మీరు కొంచెం తెలుసుకుంటే సరిపోతుంది. What is the linear search and what is the binary search? When you come to the sorting here, bubble sort, selection sort, and insertion sort. Insertion sort. Bubble selection and insertion sort. So they have mentioned searching and sorting another area. Okay, after data structures, searching and sorting. Next, so because there is a problem with this kind of sorting, that's the reason they have mentioned divide and conquer two algorithms. Divide and conquer means it's an algorithm technique, but divide and conquer look only in sorting. That is a quick sort and bubble sort. Quick sort and bubble sort. Sir, bench. Quick and bench. Quick and bench. Okay, so this is your syllabus. Okay, Python programming, they didn't mention what to learn. It is very huge. So therefore, whatever I discussed that I have taken from the previous questions. Okay, and then okay, I have discussed about the topics. One thing is okay, data types. Mostly we'll concentrate on these data types. Already done. Scalar and non-scalar, or you can talk about primitive and non-primitive, whatever it is. Language banipoti, okay, context marchunante. Okay, scalar means you can store only a single value. Non-scalar means you can store multiple values. So especially when you go for non-scalar, we need to discuss about list, string. అక్కడ కనపడుతుందమ్మా, అక్కడ కనపడుతుందా? ఓ ఇక్కడ కనపడుతుందా? ఓకే. ఓకే. ఓకే, లిస్ట్, string, tuple, set, dictionary. Knowing these things are sufficient. Okay, what is a list? Okay, so one thing is knowing these things, and you need to know that what is the, when should I use list, when should I use string, when should I use tuple, when should I use set, when should I use dictionary. So these are very important here. Okay, so they'll test in that area whether the student knows what is the difference between set and then list. When should I use a set? Okay, when should I use a list here? In that area, in that direction, we need to prepare. Simply, okay, don't think that all these are for collection of elements. Whenever you want to go for, okay, homogeneous kind of elements here, okay, whenever you want to go for homogeneous kind of elements, we normally prefer list. We normally prefer list. Even this is having a provision for storing non-homogeneous elements, but we prefer only, okay, homogeneous kind of elements. Okay, whenever you want to go for, okay, immutable, even it is an, okay, non-homogeneous, immutable, okay, means which cannot be changeable, then you can go for tuple. Then you can go for tuple. So string is also an immutable. It's a group of character data. It's a group. Okay, group of characters. It is not a collection. Collection అంటే multiple values ని సేవ్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. Okay, string a group of characters. That's it. Next, when you come to the set and dictionaries. Set is meant for unique values. Already you are familiar with this. Okay, when you go for set, you have unique values. Okay, but the thing here is, whenever I use a set, is there any data structure available for set? No, no data structure is available for that. But whenever you are using the set here, what kind of data structure we use internally? So when you observe the trees, trees will not allow, okay, duplicate elements. So the underlying data structure is tree. So whenever I come to the tree, how many ways I can implement the trees? Either I can implement using an array or you can use an implement linked list. So like this, the link you have to remove that. Okay, whenever you go for, okay, this. When I come to the dictionaries, so when should I go for dictionaries? So you might have keys and values. So what is the purpose? Already set is there. Why do you go for, okay, dictionaries? Because more readability. So whenever, okay, all you are having the roll numbers, therefore I need to index by using roll numbers instead of using serial numbers. Serial number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that is not the best one. Suppose if I use some roll number here, so whatever the batch you are in, suppose 23 or 24, 24, some college code like this, some 10-digit number. That is, okay, for more readability. So therefore, dictionaries are meant for, okay, user-defined key values, where the set is meant for predefined key values. So that is the difference you need to know that from here. Okay, అది మీకు తెలియాలి ఎప్పుడు వాడాలి ఎలా వాడాలి. So they expect these kind of things. Okay, similarly I have seen that, I have mentioned that, okay, suppose two functions, one is pop function is available here and the remove function is available. They may expect a question from this whether the student knows we have pop and remove, both are meant for removing. Okay, then what is the difference here? Of course, pop will do only the last element, and the remove, okay, will remove any element. Another one is remove will also give that whenever if the element is or if the object is not present, it will give an error, value error. So like this, you need to know that one. Whenever you are learning about the functions, okay, what is the difference between each and every function? So like this. Okay. So this is the area we need to concentrate here, so that you can expect some questions from that. Okay, already we have seen some 2 or 3 questions from the previous gate here. You can expect the questions. Okay, apart from that, you can see that. See, another area here we need to concentrate is functions. So it is not a new one. Okay, function is already you have learned in C, Java, whatever it is, C++, anything we have a function. But here, the working of the function is same here, whether go for recursion or non-recursion. So idea is same. Recursion means function calling itself. Non-recursion means you have some loops. Okay, we have loops, then we go for non-recursion. Therefore, they may test you in a recursion. Okay, they give you the recursive function. Then how to, okay, what is the output of that recursive function? సో మీరు సిలో ఎలా అయితే ఒక ఫంక్షన్ రికర్సివ్ ఫంక్షన్ ఇచ్చి అవుట్పుట్ ఎలా అడుగుతారో ఇక్కడ కూడా రికర్సివ్ ఫంక్షన్ ఇచ్చి అవుట్పుట్ అడుగుతారు. బట్ ఇఫ్ యు నో దట్ హౌ టు డిఫైన్ అ ఫంక్షన్ ఇన్ పైథాన్. So that syntax we are going to learn now. Okay, how to define the functions. Okay, and then we'll touch with the class, because why means we'll see Class is meant for user defined data types. ఇవన్నీ బిల్ట్ ఇన్ డేటా టైప్స్ అదే మనకి ఇస్తుంది ఆల్రెడీ. ఓకే, ఇవన్నీ కొత్తవి కాదు, లిస్ట్ కానీ టపుల్ కానీ. ఓకే, అవన్నీ. సో whenever you go and see type of list, you'll get a class list. Okay, so I taken some empty list here. Okay, proper, you're audible. Sorry, visible. Mm. So if I print this type of L, see, you can see that list. So in Python, everything is considered as a class. There is no primitive values. Whenever you learn about C or C++, there will be primitive values as well as classes. Okay, but here everything will be considered as a class. Therefore, how to define our own class? So that is the reason I'll touch with only a class. Okay, but we didn't expect any questions from the class here because it's just to know that one here how to create your own data types. Okay, they won't touch. I think so because that won't be much importance in that. Okay. Okay. So this is what we're going to discuss. First, after completion of these two concepts, function and class, then I'll go with the list, stack, queue, trees, and graphs. Okay. Whenever we go for list, stack, queue, tree, and hashing, we don't need to worry about the programming language. You can take the CHC questions and you can practice. They want to test whether how the stack is working or not, how the stack works, whether you know or not here. Okay, how queue works. Okay, how tree works, whether you know the properties of the tree or not. Okay, it doesn't matter what programming language it is. The properties of this data structures will not change. Therefore, we can take the target of your computer science questions and you can practice. Okay, so even you have data science of very few questions. Okay, two papers means already you have some 4 or 5 questions. Therefore, you better take questions from computer science papers. Huge amount of questions are there, so that you get some idea about how the stack kind of can expect. So that's we discussed that. And searching and sorting. So whenever we talk about the searching and sorting here, okay, one thing is time complexity. The other one is the internal working of each and every small. Okay, number of requirements and number of swamps. They expect a question or a question. Okay, how many swamps will be there if I use a bubble sort? How many swamps will be there for selection sort? Okay. When you compare with all the three, the time complexity for all these three will be same, big O of n square. But internal working is differ. Therefore, whether the student knows the internal working of bubble sort, selection sort, and insertion sort, okay, then they will test that. Okay, they have questions like that. They have asked. I'll show you the questions. We'll discuss that. Similarly, BFS, DFS, properties of that one, and then med sort, quick sort, the same idea. Med sort, quick sort, the same idea. We'll discuss. So first let me discuss about function, and then we'll go with some class. Okay. రావట్లేదా? సాకెట్ ఎక్కడ ఉందమ్మా ఇక్కడ? ఛార్జింగ్ సాకెట్. ఛార్జింగ్ సాకెట్ వస్తుందా అందులో? స్క్రీన్ షేర్ చేయాలా? Okay, look at this. So how to define your own functions? Suppose when you go for other languages, because whenever you are going for learning a new language, obviously you need to compare with your already existing language. So that is the best way of learning a second language at first. So normally when you already written functions in C, okay, therefore how you write the functions in the C means you write return type first, after that function name, after that argument list, and then body of the function. So this is what exactly you are specifying, because to whom you are specifying? You are specifying to the compiler. Okay, function name, return type, argument list, therefore function will understand that. Okay, compiler will understand that. So here you don't need to specify any return type, nothing else. Okay, you don't need to specify any return type. Okay, you don't need to specify any argument list type also. Just mention only the names. Therefore, you can go for def is a keyword which is used to define your own function, and followed by an function name, followed by function name. And then if there are any arguments, you mention that arguments. And then you know that one, everything is colon. Colon indicates that is a continuation. Colon indicates that is a continuation. Otherwise, it will treat that one as end of the line. And you can write your functionality here with an indentation. That's it. You don't need to worry about what is the type, okay? Because the Python itself is a dynamic typing here. You don't need to worry about the type here. One variable you can use it for multiple purposes. Depends upon the assignment. That is what we call it as dynamic typing languages. Whereas your C, Java, all these will be considered as static typing languages. Once you define that type as int, you have to use it for only integers. You can't use it for at the time of running for other purposes. Okay, so that is the difference you need to observe from one programming language to another. So here it's very simple. First we need to go for df keyword followed by what is the name of the function, followed by if you want to specify any arguments, specify them. No need to mention any types. Colon followed by write it your interpretation. Here you can see that okay, def there is a function that is called fib, and I have passed an argument for this one is n. Argument for this one is. So this is the best okay, way of writing that is document or comments. So what is going to do that one here? Print the Fibonacci series less than n. Now you know that one here you are assigning normally when you go for C, A equal to 0, B equal to 1, you do that. Individual assignment here. Okay, individual assignment you do that. It is not possible to assign multiple at a time. So whereas in Python here it is possible, okay, that we call it as packing and unpacking. Then packing and unpacking one. One already tuples lo choosam. So whenever there is a tuple, I want to take that values in the tuple and assign to some variables. Then that we call it as unpacking. Similarly, a group of values basically ఒక tuple లో పెట్టాలనుకోండి దాన్ని packing. So the same way how we done in okay tuples here also we can do that. Here you can see that there are two values on the right hand side, and this a will be stored in 0 will be stored in A and 1 will be stored in B. So simply you can assign directly like this. But the only thing is how many variables are there on the right hand side and the left hand side, both must be same. Okay, then only you could able to transfer. Otherwise you get a problem with that. So that is the point we need to observe. Next, you know that while loop. Okay, while condition. So here you can see that while a less than 5, it's a condition. So this is not a new one. It is already familiar with your programming languages. But colon. So everything, the block here indicates, whereas previously we use curly braces to indicate that one, this statement belongs to that particular while block or for block or function, whatever it is. So మీరు Cలో కనుక ఓకే ఆర్ జావాలో కనుక ఎక్కడైనా చూసినా you are using curly braces. What is the intention of using the curly braces? Because they belongs to the set of statements or belongs to that statement. ఓకే లేదు సెమికాలన్ పెట్టారు అనుకోండి దాని అర్థం ఏంటి దట్ ఈస్ అన్ ఎండ్. అందుకనే సపోజ్ ఫర్ int I equal to 0, I less than some 10, I plus plus ఇక్కడ సెమికాలన్ పెట్టారు అనుకోండి మీకు ఎర్రర్ ఏం చూపించదు. ప్రింట్ పర్సెంటేజ్ డి ఐ అన్నారు అనుకోండి మీకు ఎర్రర్ ఏం చూపించదు సీలు. ఎందుకని చూసారా? So for loop will repeat for 10 times with an empty board. సో దీన్ని ఎలా కన్సిడర్ చేస్తుందంటే కంపైలర్ వాడికి ఏం అవసరం లేదంటే జస్ట్ ఓన్లీ ఫర్ లూప్ని ఓ 10 సార్లు రిపీట్ చేయమని అడుగుతున్నాడు అంతే. ఇలా కన్సిడర్ చేస్తాం. ఇందులో ఏం లేదు. ఓకే 0 to 10 వరకు రిపీట్ చేస్తాం. అప్పుడు ఎప్పటికి ఫెయిల్ అవుతుంది ఐ వాల్యూ 11 అయిన తర్వాత ఫెయిల్ అవుతుంది. సో మనం దీన్ని బ్లాక్ అంటాం. దీన్ని బ్లాక్ అంటాం. ఓకే అన్నేమ్డ్ బ్లాక్స్. అన్నేమ్డ్ బ్లాక్స్ వాటిని అన్నేమ్డ్ బ్లాక్స్ అంటారు. నేమ్డ్ బ్లాక్స్ అన్నేమ్డ్ బ్లాక్స్ అంటారు. అందుకనే ఇక్కడ మీకు ఆన్సర్ ఏం వస్తుందంటే 11 వస్తుంది. ప్రింట్ ఆఫ్ పర్సెంటేజ్ డి ఐ అంటే 11. సో ఇవి మీరు ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ నేర్చుకునేటప్పుడు నేర్చుకుంటే. సో here you can see that colon indicates that is the start of the block. Now you can see that print a, you already know that one, and here you can see that you know how to calculate the Fibonacci sequence. Okay, you need to do manually f1 f3 equal to f1 plus f2, then f1 equal to f2, f2 equal to f3, and the previous two numbers add చేసి మళ్ళీ నెక్స్ట్ 2కి ప్రీవియస్ 2 నెంబర్స్ అవ్వాలి f1 f2. అదంతా చూడండి పైథాన్లో ఎంత సింపుల్గా చేస్తారు. ఓకే చూడండి. Now here assume that one a equal to 0 and b equal to 1. The next sequence now will be 0 1 1. So ఈ రెండు ఇది a b అయితే next కి ఈ రెండు ఏబిఓ, నెక్స్ట్ ఫిబొనాక్సీ సీక్వెన్స్ కి ఈ రెండు ఏబిఓ, నెక్స్ట్ ఫిబొనాక్సీ సీక్వెన్స్ కి ఈ రెండు ఏబిఓ. సో దాన్ని నామకరణం చేయాలంటే ఇలా చేయాలి. ఫస్ట్ వీ నీడ్ టు calculate in a temporary variable. First we need to calculate in a temporary variable a plus b, some t equal to a plus b. ఇప్పుడు b ఏమో a అవ్వాలి, therefore a equal to b and b equal to t. అప్పుడు సో చూడండి పైథాన్ లో అనుకోండి, you can do it in a better way. So a comma b, this time you can see that b is assigned to a. You got this statement. చూడండి ఈ b ఏమో a plus b నే కదా, b a plus b నే కదా. So instead of using the duplicate here itself you write a plus b. So these are some tricks, which we can reduce some code with the help of this kind of facility. So python లో మీరు వచ్చినప్పుడు మీరు ఇలాంటివి మీరు ఐడెంటిఫై చేయాలి. సో రిమైనింగ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ వర్కింగ్ ఇస్ ద సేమ్. C is meant for how each and every statement is working. ప్రతి స్టేట్మెంట్ ఏం చేస్తుంది అనేది తెలుసు, పైథాన్లో తెలియదు. పైథాన్లో చూద్దామంటే కనిపిస్తుంది, కష్టం. అందుకే ఫస్ట్ లర్నింగ్ పైథాన్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ఇస్ నాట్ ఏ సజెస్టబుల్ ఫర్ డెవలపర్స్. C will give you that డీటెయిల్డ్ ఏం జరుగుతుంది లోన్ అంతా తెలుస్తుంది. ఓకే, అందుకనే we need to compare better with another programming language when you are learning. Therefore here you can see that how simple it is. Define fib of n. You can write comment lines printing a Fibonacci sequence in triple quotes. Triple quotes అంటే document string అంటారు. Triple quotes అంటే document string. When you write in a triple quotes, that is a documentation వాడుతుంది, documentation string. So you can see this. So when I call this fib of 2000, obviously it will print all the Fibonacci sequence. So I'll show you that how to do that. Okay. So just write df of n than n. So a comma b will be assigned to 0, 1. Okay. What is the condition? A less than n. ఏం ప్రింట్ చేయాలి? సమ్. సార్ ఇది ఏంటంటే ఓ లైన్లో రావడానికి. సో ఇక్కడ మీరు వేరేది కావాలన్నా పెట్టుకోవచ్చు. ఎంత? సరే, హార్డ్గా ఉంది కదా. సో పైథాన్ ఎలా అంటే మనం ఎలా అయితే నోట్స్లో రాసుకుంటామో అలా. ఓకే, ఎలా అయితే మన నోట్స్లో రాసుకుంటామో స్ట్రిక్ట్ సింటాక్స్ కాకుండా. ఓకే, recursive function. Okay, same. Now I go for factorial as a fun. Slide. Yeah. Okay. Suppose if I go for factorial, so int fact of int n 0 or n equal to 1, return 1, else return n into fact of n minus 1. Done. It's a recursive function. Okay? It's a recursive function. Now the same thing I want to do it in Python. Simple. Def first. What is the name I want to give? Same name, fact, and then n colon. If n double equal to 0 or n double equal to 1, return 1. Else return n into fact of n minus 1. చూడండి ఫంక్షనాలిటీ ఎక్కడ మారలేదు. Functionality is not changed anyway. Okay, so you want to find out the factorial here means simply fact of some 5, you'll get an answer 1. Observe that I'm not changing any functionality. కాబట్టి మీరు ఫంక్షనాలిటీ అంటే ఆ లాజిక్ అనేది ఓకే ఏ లాంగ్వేజ్లోనైనా ఒకటి. ఓన్లీ మీరు సింటాక్స్ చూడండి ఇక్కడ మోర్ రిస్ట్రిక్టెడ్. సింటాక్స్ ఇస్ మోర్ రిస్ట్రిక్టెడ్. కొంచెం ఎక్కువ నేర్చుకోవాలి. సో ముందు ఎప్పుడు ఇది నేర్చుకోకూడదు పైథాన్. ఫస్ట్ మీరు నేర్చుకోవాల్సింది సీనే. అప్పుడే దాని పైథాన్ యొక్క వాల్యూ తెలుస్తుంది. ఓకే, అంతేగాని డైరెక్ట్గా మీరు పైథాన్ బాగా ఈజీ అని నేర్చుకున్నారు అనుకోండి, ఏం తెలియదు. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు ఈజీగానే ఉంటుంది, తర్వాత లోన్ ఏం జరుగుతుందనే తెలియదు. సో here you can see that you can do it in I just want, instead of printing that, I just want to go for that Fibonacci number sequence into a list. Now list తీసుకొని ఆ లిస్ట్ లో Fibonacci numbers అన్ని రాస్తాం. Okay, I'll write all the Fibonacci numbers in that list. See, result I have taken an empty list, and this is already we have seen. Assign the initial values of your Fibonacci numbers, that is a comma b 0 comma 1, and then while a less than n, this time you can see result dot append here. First, what are the first number that is appended to the list? So this is the same logic. Okay, make the last two numbers as a comma b, and then finally return the result. Return the result. Now this time if I go for fib of 100, fib 2 of 100 means I want to go for first up to 100 number. Up to 100. So you can see the Fibonacci number up to 100 is 89. So that will be stored in some variable because it is giving a list. Therefore, that has been stored in a variable f100. So print f100, then you will get it back. Sir, you are not using the print here, but how you are getting the result? ఎవరైనా చెప్పగలరా? ప్రింట్ అని వేరియబుల్ ఇస్తే కానీ అందులో ఉన్న వాల్యూ రాదు కదా, మరి ఇక్కడ ఎందుకు వచ్చేస్తుంది? రిటర్న్ అంటే ఇక్కడ నుంచి రిటర్న్ చేస్తుంది దీనికి. ఓకే, ఇందులో చూపిస్తాను చూడండి క్వశ్చన్. ఫస్ట్ దానికి సెకండ్ దానికి డిఫరెన్స్ చూడండి. I have assigned some value x equal to 2 and then print x. మరి రెండో దాంట్లో ప్రింట్ ఏమైనా వాడాను చేస్తే? మరి దేనికి దానికి దీనికి డిఫరెన్స్ ఏంటి? ప్రింట్ దానికి దీనికి. సో I already mentioned that one. Python is an REPL. Read, evaluate, print, do. Okay. read, evaluate, print, loop. So it has read x, evaluate, అక్కడ evaluate చేయలేదు ఆ వాల్యూ తీసుకుని, and then print, and then loop. It is waiting for the next one. So మీరు print x అని ఇవ్వకపోయినా ప్రాబ్లం లేదు. ఓకే, ప్రింటింగ్ ఏంటంటే ఫార్మాటింగ్. So okay, this is a question asked in 2024. Okay, compute the function, compute of s, whose pseudocode. So can you tell me what is the difference between pseudocode and actual code? The name says pseudo. It is not actual code. It's a mix of English as well as programming languages syntaxes. Okay, not pure programming language. Similarly, it is not of English. So that's the reason we call it as pseudocodes. Okay, but mostly they will give you pseudocodes or they may give you Python syntaxes. ఇప్పుడు సింటాక్సెస్ ఇచ్చారనుకోండి, అది అక్కడ ఉంది ఇక్కడ ఉంది అంటారు. అందుకనే సుడో కోడ్ ఇచ్చారనుకోండి కొంచెం అల్గదమ్కి దగ్గరగా ఉంది. మోస్ట్లీ దే ప్రిఫర్ టు అంటే సింటాక్స్ కరెక్ట్గా ఇవ్వాలి. Ask the question like this pseudo code or you can do function. So here you can see that s of 1 is 1. So this line will tell you that one here s of 1 is 1. So what is s? What is s? We'll see that. For I to 2 length of x, అంటే I అనేది 2 నుంచి length of x. Suppose if the x length is 10, I will repeat from 2 to 10. So that is the meaning of this. Next, this line again, s of I, that is equal to 1. S of I equal to 1. Now, there is a condition here, you can see that if x of I minus 1 is less than or equal to x of I, then you need to do the computation. So, computation. And if, అంటే if ఇక్కడికి end అయిపోయింది, and for, if r ఇక్కడికి end అయిపోయింది, then finally you need to return yes. Yes అనేది రిటర్న్ చేయాలి. అంటే ఇప్పుడు s అంటే ఏమని తీసుకోవాలి నేను? s అంటే ఏమని తీసుకోవాలి? ఎరే. s అంటే ఎరే, a collection. S is nothing but a collection. Okay. Now, what they are asking, which one of the following values is written by the function compute s of input is x. X అనేది input. Now, what is x? 6, 3, 5, 4, 10. So, when I go for x dot length, what is the value of x dot length? In the 9, 5. So, x dot length is 5. ఇప్పుడు giving the x as an input for this compute s, then what is the output of s? Initially, s is having only one element, so I'll write s. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it? Okay. So why I have to go for like this? Because by looking at this one here, s and x, s is completed based on x. X మీద బేస్ చేసుకుని s కంప్యూట్ చేస్తున్నారు. Therefore, we need to go for s as like this. Therefore, s of 1 is initially it will have 1. Now, for I equal to length of x. So what is the length of x? 5. Therefore, initially I value is 2 for 2 కి ఏం చెక్ చేయాలి? If x of 2 equal to 1 అంటే ఫస్ట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ is ఇది కూడా 1 చేస్తాను. ఎందుకంటే I value 2 అయింది కదా, అప్పుడు s of I, that is s of 2 equal to 1. x of I minus 1 అంటే చూడండి, x of I minus 1 అంటే 1. So I'll use indices 1, no 0 కింద తీసుకుంటాను, ఆ 0 కింద తీసుకుంటాను. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు నేను 0 అని చెప్పడానికి ఇదేమి ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ కాదుగా, సుడోకు. ఓకే, కాబట్టి అందుకనే సుడో కోడ్లో మనం చాలా జాగ్రత్తగా తీసుకోవాలి. అందుకే దానికి ప్యూర్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ కాదు, నార్మల్ అలా ఇంగ్లీష్ కాదు. ఓకే, సో 1 ఎందుకంటే 1 నుంచే స్టార్ట్ అయ్యారు చూడండి, ఇట్ హాస్ స్టార్టెడ్ ఫ్రమ్ 1. s of I minus 1, what is I value here? 2. That is s of I minus 1 అంటే 1 is less than or equal to, sorry, x of I minus 1 is x of 1 less than or equal to x of 2. అంటే చూడండి, you are comparing 6 and 3, that is 6 less than or equal to 3. Is it true? No, therefore this computation is not happened for I. So next end if, therefore I will increment, I will be going for 3. I will going for 3. So for after one iteration, you understand what is the pattern. ఏం జరుగుతుంది? The previous two elements are comparing. If the first element is less than the second element, then you are doing some kind of computation. ఒక computation చేస్తున్నారు, ఆ computation ఇది s of I equal to s of I plus s of I minus 1 అంటే ప్రీవియస్ వాల్యూని నా పక్క వాల్యూకి యాడ్ చేస్తున్నారు. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు చూద్దాం. ఫర్ I equal to 3, now this time x of I minus 1, that is 2 less than or equal to x of 3. So what is x of 2? 3. X of 3, 5, that is 3 less than or equal to 5. Yes, true. Now this time s of I equal to, that is s of 3 equal to, ఓకే ఆల్రెడీ ఇక్కడికి వచ్చినప్పుడు చూడండి s of I equal to 1 ఇనిషియలైజ్ చేసుకోవడం వస్తుంది, అంటే ఇక్కడ ఏముంటుంది? 1 ఉంటుంది ఆల్రెడీ. ఓకే, s of 3 equal to s of 3 plus s of I minus 1, that is 2. అంటే చూడండి, ప్రీవియస్ గా 1, ఇప్పుడు 1, therefore 1 plus 1, s of 3 will be changes to 2. Next this time I equal to 4. I equal to 4 అయితే ఏమవుతుంది చెప్పండి? ఇక మనం కొన్ని ఇంటరేషన్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు, ఈ ప్రీవియస్ టూ ఎలిమెంట్స్ కంపేర్ చేసుకోవడం. ఫస్ట్ దీన్ని 1 చేసుకుంటుంది, ఈ ఎలిమెంట్ కంపేర్ చేస్తుంది. ఈజ్ 5 లెస్ దాన్ ఆర్ ఈక్వల్ టు 4? నో, కాబట్టి కంపిటీషన్ జరగదు, 1 అలాగే ఉంటుంది. నెక్స్ట్ I value goes to 5. I value goes to 5. So దీన్ని 1 చేసుకుంటుంది. What are the previous two values? 4 and 10. 4 less than or equal to 10? Yes. Therefore do the computation. Okay. Therefore 1 plus the previous value. What is the 1 plus previous value? 1. 1 plus 1, 2. Therefore, so 1 1 2 1. So this is okay. So here instead of concentrating on the Python, you need to concentrate on how the loops work. Logic. Okay. మీకు లంచ్ బ్రేక్ ఎన్నింటికి? 12 to 1. సరే. See, another new feature in the functions which we need to concentrate languages. Default arguments. What about the default arguments? There are default arguments. Good students. So I'm defining one function. So I'm giving so simple return. I define a function f here now. Now, if I want to call f here, so what you got an error? Why you got an error? You have to pass the two arguments. కానీ మీరు చేశారు one argument చేశారు. So sometimes, okay, if you want to give some arguments as a default, if the user is not providing, okay, or user is not supplying the arguments, then we can use default argument. Suppose here you can see that the same function, if I do that, now you can see that. This time, see that. So next time I will supply that f of 2 comma 3. Now see what is the 2 plus 3? 5. So this is what we call it as default arguments. Okay. Of course, if you are learning C++, default arguments are there in the C++. మీరు C++ నేర్చుకుంటే ఇదేం కొత్తది కాదు. మీరు C నుంచి డైరెక్ట్గా ఓకే జావా కానీ దీనికొని వచ్చి డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఓకే జావాలో డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ ఉంటాయి. జావాలో డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ ఉన్నాయనుకోండి మెథడ్ ఓవర్లోడింగ్తో పని లేదు. ఓకే సో ఇప్పుడు సపోజ్ ఈసారి ఇలా రాస్తాను అనదర్ ఫంక్షన్ this time f1 a into b ఇప్పుడు చూడండి వాళ్ళు డిఫైన్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఎర్రర్ వచ్చింది. సో యూ కెన్ సీ దట్ ద ఫస్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ ఐ హావ్ మేడ్ as డిఫాల్ట్ అంటే ఫస్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ ని డిఫాల్ట్ చేశాడు, సెకండ్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ ని కంపల్సరీ చేశాడు. అది ఎలా కుదురుతుంది? అది తప్పు. ఎప్పుడైనా డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ ఉంటే అవి చివరినే ఉండాలి కానీ మధ్యలో కానీ ముందు కానీ ఉండకూడదు. ఓకే therefore the first arguments are positional arguments followed by default arguments. డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ ఎన్నైనా ఉండొచ్చు. ఒకసారి డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ వచ్చిన తర్వాత పొజిషనల్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ ఇస్తానంటే ఒప్పుకోదు. మీరు ఏదైనా ఇవ్వాలంటే పొజిషనల్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ అన్ని ముందే ఇవ్వండి. సో హౌ మెనీ పొజిషనల్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్? ఇక్కడ ఒకటే కావాలి కాబట్టి ఒకటే ఇవ్వండి. కావాలంటే రెండు ఇవ్వండి, మూడు కావాలంటే మూడు ఇవ్వండి. దాని తర్వాత డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ ఎన్ని ఇద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నారు? ఓ రెండు ఇద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నారు. దెన్ యూ కెన్ రైట్ a comma b comma c. So I want to make two default arguments. So then you can write like this. Return simple. Okay. So then f2 of 2 3 4 minimum 3 ఇవ్వాలి. 3 లేకపోతే తీసుకుంటాం. మినిమం 3 ఉండాలి. ఓకే సో 2 3 4 ఫైనల్లీ విల్ గెట్ ఆన్సర్ as లేదు 2 3 4 5 6. So this time we can see that. So 20, the sum of that numbers. That's it. So this is the another new one we can have. Okay, default arguments. ఇది యాక్చువల్గా కొత్తది కాదు, C++లోకి బారో చేసుకోండి. ఇది కాక ఇంకోటి ఉంటుంది, దాన్ని కీవర్డ్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ అంటారు. we call them as keyword arguments. అంటే మూడు రకాలుగా మనం ఫంక్షన్స్ డిఫైన్ చేయొచ్చు. ఒకటి డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్, పొజిషనల్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ ఫస్ట్ చూసాం. రెండోది పొజిషనల్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ ప్లస్ డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్. మూడోది పొజిషనల్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్, డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ అండ్ కీవర్డ్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్. Keyword arguments can give the names, okay, at the time of supplying parameters. Parameters supply చేసేటంటే ఫంక్షన్లో 1 pair stop 1 ఆ పేర్లని సబ్మిట్ అవుతాయి. ఓకే, దట్స్ వాట్ దే కాల్ as keyword arguments. An example. So this is the new thing in your Python here. You can go for default argument. Just now we have seen. Another one is keyword argument. We are going to see that. Okay. Now special parameters means you can mix all the three. That is what we call it as special parameters. And mix each. First you see positional parameters. అవి కాకుండా ఇవి అడిషనల్ గా అన్నమాట. కీవర్డ్ as well as default. Now ఇక్కడ చూడండి ఒకసారి. Python ఎప్పుడు యాక్చువల్గా ఆల్రెడీ whenever I discussed about the Python here, I already mentioned that one. Why the Python name is యాక్చువల్గా ఓకే మాంటీ పైథాన్ అనే ఒక సీరియల్ ఉంటుంది, అది ఎప్పుడుదో సీరియల్. దాన్ని ఇన్స్పైర్ అయ్యి ఈ లాంగ్వేజ్ని డిజైన్ చేశారు. అందులో కన్వర్జేషన్స్ ఏ ఉంటాయో మ్యాక్సిమం ఆ కన్వర్జేషన్స్ ఇక్కడ వాడతాం ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్. ఓకే, ఎందుకంటే న్యాచురల్గా వాళ్ళు ఎలా అయితే కన్వర్జేషన్ చేసుకుంటున్నారో అలాగా ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ని తీసుకురావాలని వాళ్ళ ఉద్దేశం. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద మెయిన్ ఇంటెన్షన్. కాబట్టి ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ నేర్చుకునేటప్పుడు ఓకే దాని యొక్క అప్లికేషన్స్తో పాటు నేర్చుకున్నారు అనుకోండి, అప్పుడు మీకు అవి అప్లై చేయటం ఈజీగా ఉంటుంది. ఇక్కడ చూడండి, ఆస్క్ ఓకే ప్రాంప్ట్. ఫస్ట్ ప్రాంప్ట్ ఎన్ని సార్లు రీట్రై చేయాలి. డిఫాల్ట్గా 4 ఇచ్చాను. 4 కన్నా ఎక్కువైంది అనుకోండి, ఓకే 4 మ్యాక్సిమం డిఫాల్ట్. లేదు వాడు ఏమి ఇవ్వలేదు అనుకోండి, 4 ఇస్తాం. వాడు రీట్రైస్ అనేది ఒక 2 పెట్టుకున్నాడు అనుకోండి, అప్పుడు 2 వస్తాయి. ఓకే, అంటే మరి చూడండి, ఏదైనా ఒకసారి ఎవరినైనా అడిగేటప్పుడు ఎన్నిసార్లు అడగాలి. డిఫాల్ట్గా 4 సార్లు ఉంటుంది. లేదు మీరు 2 సార్లకే నాకు చాలు అనుకున్నారు అనుకోండి, అప్పుడు యూ కెన్ సప్లై ద పారామీటర్ యాజ్ 2. సో యూ కెన్ సీ దట్ రీట్రైస్. రిమైండర్ ప్లీజ్ ట్రై అగైన్. ఒకవేళ ఒక తప్పు చెప్పాడు అనుకోండి, ఆ ప్రాంప్ట్ అడిగినప్పుడు ఇఫ్ యూ గెట్ ఎ రాంగ్ ఆన్సర్ ప్లీజ్ ట్రై అగైన్ అంటే మీకు సార్ ఛాన్సెస్ ఇస్తున్నారు. They are giving a chances for that. So this is the first line. You understood that one here. When I would look at that first line, you understood someone is asking some question. How many retries you are giving? 4 by default. If it says wrong answer, you are giving a message, please try again. Student, it is natural conversation laga undi. It is just like a natural conversation. So kabatti Python నేర్చుకునేటప్పుడు mostly we need to go for natural conversations. ఎందుకంటే Python is meant for natural language కొంచెం దగ్గరగా ఉండడానికి డిజైన్ చేయబడతారు. సో అలా ఇవన్నీ ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ అన్ని డాట్ ట్యుటోరియల్లో ఉంటాయి. అందులో నుంచి తీసిన ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్. ఏబిసిడీలు అన్నారు అనుకోండి, కరెక్ట్ ఒక రోజు తర్వాత 3వ రోజు మర్చిపోతారు. ఇవి అనుకున్నారు అనుకోండి, సిచ్యువేషన్ ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి ఆ సిచ్యువేషన్ గుర్తుంది. ఆ సిచ్యువేషన్ దీన్ని రీకలెక్ట్ చేస్తుంది. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద వే ఆఫ్ లర్నింగ్ Python. ఓకే, చూడండి, వైల్ ట్రూ ఆ రీట్రైస్ అయ్యేంత వరకు మీకు ఛాన్సెస్ ఇస్తానే ఉంటుంది. సో రిప్లై జస్ట్ ఎన్ ఇన్పుట్. మీరు ఏదైతే ప్రాంప్ట్ అడిగారో అది ఇన్పుట్ ఫంక్షన్కి వెళ్తుంది. సో రిప్లై ఎస్ అనుకో ఎస్, నో అయితే నో. ఎస్ అని పెట్టారనుకోండి, వై అని టైప్ చేయొచ్చు, వై అని టైప్ చేయొచ్చు, ఎస్ అని టైప్ చేయొచ్చు. దెన్ రిటర్న్ ట్రూ, అక్కడికి అయిపోతుంది. లేదు నో అని పెట్టారనుకోండి, నో ఎన్ ఏదైనా వాడచ్చు. అంటే మిమ్మల్ని ఏదైనా క్వశ్చన్ అడిగాను అనుకోండి, మీకు తెలిస్తే ఎస్ అని చెప్పండి, లేకపోతే నో అని చెప్పండి. అది దట్ ఈస్ ద మీనింగ్. అది కాకుండా వేరే ఏమైనా చెప్పారు అనుకోండి, అప్పుడు ప్రైస్ ఎన్ని ఇచ్చాను నేను ఆల్రెడీ 4 ఇచ్చాను. ఒకటి మైనస్ అయ్యి మళ్ళీ లూప్లోకి వస్తుంది, మళ్ళీ అడుగుతుంది, మళ్ళీ ఇంకోసారి ఛాన్స్ ఇస్తున్నాను, ఈసారి చెప్పండి. ఓకే, ఎస్ఆర్ నువ్వు కాకుండా మళ్ళీ వేరే ఆన్సర్ చెప్పారు, మళ్ళీ ఓకే రీట్రైస్ -1 అగైన్ వైల్ లూప్. మరి వైల్ ఎప్పుడు బ్రేక్ అవుతుంది? ఎప్పుడైతే రీట్రైస్ 0 అయిపోతాయో, రేజ్ అన్ ఎర్రర్, ఇన్వాలిడ్ యూజర్ రెస్పాన్స్. ఎప్పుడైతే ఆ ట్రైస్ అన్ని అయిపోతున్నాయో సింపుల్గా ఓకే మీరు ఇచ్చింది ఓకే కరెక్ట్ కాదు, ఆల్ ద ఛాన్సెస్ హాస్ బీన్ ఎగ్జాస్టెడ్, therefore stop. సో దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ వి కాల్ ఇట్ యాజ్ వాల్యూ ఎర్రర్. చూడండి, నెక్స్ట్ న్యాచురల్గా ఎలా అయితే మాట్లాడుకుంటామో దాన్ని ప్రోగ్రామాటికల్గా కన్వర్ట్ చేశారు. సో దిస్ ఈస్ వాట్ ది అడ్వాంటేజ్ ఆఫ్ యూజింగ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ దీనివల్ల 2 పాయింట్స్. న్యాచురల్గా మనము ఏదైతే మాట్లాడుకుంటామో దాన్ని ప్రోగ్రామ్ కింద కన్వర్ట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. అందుకే పైథాన్ ఇస్ బికమ్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ద ఫేమస్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ఫర్ ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ ఆర్ స్టాటిస్టిక్స్. ఓకే, ఎందుకంటే మరి ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ అంటే స్ట్రిక్ట్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ కాదు, వాడికి అర్థం కావాలి కదా, వాడికి దగ్గరగా ఉండే లాంగ్వేజ్ ఇది. మరి దీనికి ముందు ఏ లాంగ్వేజ్ వాడేవాళ్ళు? ప్రోలాగ్. ఓకే, సో ఇది ఎలా కాల్ చేయొచ్చు? గివింగ్ ఓన్లీ మ్యాండేటరీ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్. డూ యూ రియల్లీ వాంట్ టు క్విట్? డూ యూ రియల్లీ వాంట్ టు క్విట్ అని అడిగాను క్వశ్చన్. ఎస్ అయితే ఎస్, నో అయితే నో. ఎస్ అని చెప్పాను అనుకోండి, ఎస్ అంటే వై అని టైప్ చేయొచ్చు, వై ఎస్ అని టైప్ చేయొచ్చు, లేకపోతే వై అన్న టైప్ చేయొచ్చు. దెన్ వీ కెన్ గో. లేదు ఇంకోలాగా ఆప్షనల్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్. ఓకే టు ఓవర్ రైట్ ద ఫైల్, ఆస్క్ ఓకే టు ఓవర్ రైట్ ద ఫైల్ 2 టైమ్స్, 2 సార్లు అడుగుతుంది ఆ ఫైల్ ఓవర్ రైట్ చేయనా అని అడుగుతుంది. ఎస్ అని చెప్పారు అనుకోండి ఓకే, నో అని చెప్పారు అనుకోండి ఓకే. ఈ 2 కాకుండా వేరేది ఆన్సర్ ఇచ్చారనుకోండి ఇంకో ఛాన్స్ ఇస్తాం. డూ వాంట్ ఓవర్ రైట్ ద ఫైల్? అగైన్ ఎస్ అని చెప్పారు అనుకోండి ఓకే, నో అని చెప్పారు అనుకోండి ఓకే. ఇంకా ఛాన్సెస్ ఏమి ఇవ్వదు, సింపుల్ గా నీకు ఇంకో ఛాన్స్ లేదు అని వాల్యూ అనేది రిటర్న్. Similarly, you can see that. Okay, to overwrite the file, the chances are 2. Come on, only yes or no answer. These are కొంచెం more hints ఇస్తుంది, కొంచెం hint ఇస్తుంది. Can you overwrite the file? Okay, to overwrite the file, how many tries I am giving? 2 tries. This time, వాడికి ఏం ఆన్సర్ చేయాలో తెలియకపోతే అక్కడ చెప్తున్నా. Okay, give yes or. So this is what exactly the natural conversation converted to. సో దీనికి మనం డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ ఎలా వాడామో చూడండి. సో యూ నీడ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ ద సిచ్యువేషన్, ట్రై టు ఇంప్లిమెంట్ okay the situations using Python. So this kind of feature is not there in the languages C or C++. Ajay. Okay, అది దీంట్లో తెలుసుకోవాల్సిన ఒక పాయింట్ ఉంది. డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ రాసినప్పుడు అది ఒకసారి మాత్రమే ఎవాల్యుయేట్ అవుతుంది. మీరు 10 సార్లు కాల్ చేశారని మాత్రం 10 సార్లు ఏమి ఎవాల్యుయేట్. Only one time at the time of definition it will evaluate for each call. So here you can see that there is a variable I equal to 5, there is a variable I equal to 6. One variable, out 5 would be out of 6. So whenever you call the function f, the control goes here. The control goes here. Now this, okay, it will take only this arg equal to I. ఎందుకు సార్ మరి డెఫినిషన్ ముందు రాసిన తర్వాత ఫస్ట్ కదా ఎఫ్ ముందే కదా రాసింది, మరి ఎఫ్ ముందు రాసినప్పుడు అక్కడ ఎవాల్యుయేషన్ జరిగినప్పుడు ఐ వాల్యూ ఎంత ఉంది? 5 కదా. అందుకనే అక్కడ ఆప్షన్ 5. అందుకే ప్రింట్ ఆర్ అన్నాను అనుకోండి 5 మాత్రమే ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది, 6 ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది. మీరు ఏమనుకుంటారంటే 6 తర్వాత కదా ఎఫ్ కాల్ చేశాను, ఇప్పుడు ఎఫ్ లో 6 ఉండాలి అంట. సో దిస్ ఇస్ ద పాయింట్ యూ నీడ్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్. డిఫాల్ట్ వాల్యూస్ ఆర్ ఎవాల్యుయేటెడ్ at the point of the function definition in the defining scope. Function definition ఓకే ముందు ఏదైతే ఉన్నాయో అవి తీసుకొని ఏదైతే వాల్యూ ఇచ్చారో ఆ వాల్యూ. ఓకే, ఉంటే so this is what exactly this is an example. You can see that the default values is evaluated only once. అని ఎందుకు అలా చూద్దాం. ఇక్కడ ఒక ఫంక్షన్ చూడండి. ఫస్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ ఈస్ పొజిషనల్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్, ద సెకండ్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్ ఈస్ లిస్ట్, an empty list. L dot append of a అంటే ఫస్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ ని L కి అపెండ్ చేసి దాన్ని రిటర్న్ చేస్తున్నాను. అంటే ఇక్కడ చూడండి ప్రింట్ f of 1 అంటే f లో 1 వస్తుంది, L becomes empty. ఓకే, L dot append a అంటే 1 అవుతుంది, రిటర్న్ L అంటే L లో ప్రస్తుతం 1 ఉంటుంది. నెక్స్ట్ f of 2 మళ్ళీ f of a వాల్యూ 2 అయింది. ఈసారి ఏమనుకుంటారు L ఈక్వల్ టు ఇప్పుడు L ఎంటీ అయిపోయింది అనుకుంటారు. ఆల్రెడీ ఏం చెప్పారు, ఇట్ విల్ బి ఎవాల్యుయేటెడ్ ఓన్లీ వన్స్. ఇప్పుడు ఎల్ ఎంటీ అవ్వదు, ఎల్ ఎంటీ అవ్వదు. therefore ఎల్ డాట్ డిపెండ్ 2. ఆల్రెడీ ఎల్ 1 ఉంది, therefore ఎల్ బికమ్స్ 1 కామా 1 కామా 2. నెక్స్ట్ ఎఫ్ ఆఫ్ 3, ఎఫ్ ఆఫ్ 3 మీరు ఏమనుకుంటారంటే ఎల్ మళ్ళీ అసైన్ అవుతున్నాను, అవ్వదు. therefore ఎల్ డాట్ డిపెండ్ ఆఫ్ 3. so this time L equal to 1, 2, 3. So you can see this. The output will be 1 for first call, the second call 1, 2, and the third call is 2. Sir, మరి అలా కాకుండా నాకు ప్రతిసారి నాకు అవ్వాలి, డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ అవ్వదు, మీరు ఇంటర్నల్ గా లాజిక్ రాయాల్సి ఉంటుంది. సో దిస్ ఈస్ ద పాయింట్. ఓకే, whenever we discuss about the default arguments. Default arguments అంటే మనం సప్లై చేయకపోతే ఓన్లీ ఓకే అది సప్లై చేస్తారని కాకుండా ఇవి కూడా ఉంటాయి. ఒకటి, ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎవాల్యుయేటెడ్ ఓన్లీ వన్స్ అండ్ ఇట్ టేక్స్ ద వాల్యూ ఆఫ్ ద డిఫైన్డ్ స్కోప్, దాని పైన ఉన్న స్కోప్ మాత్రమే తీసుకుంటుంది. సో ఈ రెండు ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ విల్ షో దట్ ఓకే ద ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఆఫ్ డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్. డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఇవన్నీ. సో కాబట్టి ఇవి ఆఫ్ కోర్స్ ఇంత కాంప్లికేటెడ్గా అడుగుతారని కాదు, కానీ ఇది నాలెడ్జ్ ఎప్పుడైనా వాడుతున్నప్పుడు డిఫాల్ట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ వాడుతున్నప్పుడు తెలుసుకోవాలి. ఓకే, సో okay, we'll take a break and then we'll meet